guys, I'm Veloce, and today I wanted to go over some force feedback settings for the Fanatec DD1 and DD2, as well as the CSL DD for Forza Horizon 5. Now, despite people having some racing setups, I've seen people give up on using their wheel for Forza just because, it doesn't feel as good as the other sims and racing games that they like to play. And while Forza might not have the most fantastic force feedback, I definitely think you can make it drivable with just some tweaks to the settings. While you could get the basic idea of driving on a road, drifting and off-roading was pretty much uncontrollable and impossible. But with these settings, I actually enjoyed drifting and off-roading quite a bit, and the road cars feel a lot better as well. Now, I do run the game on PC, so if you're running on Xbox, it might feel slightly different, but I'm hoping it's close to the same. And I'm personally running a DD2 myself, but I've helped a friend with the CSL DD, and he said the improvements were substantial, so. Now, for the longest time, if you ran a Fanatec wheelbase on Forza Horizon 5, it would cause the game to crash after completing a race. Thankfully, the latest beta drivers have fixed this issue. So I highly recommend you download and upgrade your firmware, and you should have no problems with Forza Horizon 5. If you're running the DD1 or DD2 on PC, you don't need to use any compatibility modes. The native mode is supported, so you don't have to worry about that. If you are using the Fanatec e-brake, one annoying issue I've had is every time I boot up the game, I have to go to my controls, go to my input mapping, go to my wheel, and select my custom profile that has the e-brake with the e-brake axis bound. So every time I load up the game, it'll start off on like one of the default formula setting, and then every time I open up the game, I'll just have to switch it to my profile. So if you have any type of custom settings, you might have to do that as well for yourself. Now for the force feedback settings, you want to go into the advanced controls, and there's really only two things we're going to touch here. Everything else is pretty much good. Don't have to worry about any of the dead zones or anything like that. And the first thing we're going to change for the DD1 and DD2 users is the force feedback scale. For CSL DDs, I believe you can leave this at 1 and you won't really run into any issues. But if you leave it at 1, you're going to have just really aggressive force feedback. It's not going to feel very well, and it's most likely just clipping a ton. So I lower that down to 0.4, and then I also completely take down the wheel damper. And this is going to be for everybody, CSL DD, DD1, DD2, completely zero out the wheel damper. Basically, we're having too much dampening with the wheel and the game, and I found that for some reason the game damper is just worse. Now, for the wheelbase settings, we're going to go to our setup. We're going to have sensitivity set to 1080. For force feedback strength, I'm running 60. And for the DD1, you would multiply this by 1.25, but I also adjust this depending on the car that I'm driving. So if it's more of a race car, I'll probably bump that up to 70. If it's more of a drift or rally car, I'll probably drop that down to 40 or 50. If you're running the CSL DD, I would just recommend you run it at 100 and just back it off if you feel like you want some less force. For force feedback scale, I have that set to peak. Natural damper, I have set to 30. If you're really cranking down your force feedback, I'd drop that to maybe about 25, but any lower than that and you start getting oscillations. Natural friction, we have set to off. Natural inertia, we have set to off. Force feedback interpolation, set to 5. Force feedback intensity, set to 100. Force feedback effect strength, set to 100. Spring effect, 100. Damper, 100. Brake level indicator, off. That's personal preference thing. And brake force, I have set to 90, also personal preference as well. Just set that to what you like. And that's pretty much it. So hopefully with these settings, this really helps you get a better feel of the car, allows you to control the car in slides and dirt and everything like that a little bit better. For me personally, this made the game a lot more enjoyable on the wheel and no longer felt like I wanted to use the controller. Well, I really hope that improved your driving experience, guys. If it did, I'd greatly appreciate it. Leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see some more sim racing content. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.